Hello, this is Tom Ellis, current president of the New England chapter of the Construction Management Association of America. I'd like to welcome you to the 2020 CMAA New England chapter Mark H. Hasso Project Excellence in Scholarship Program Awards. I'm honored to represent the board of directors and over 550 members of our chapter this year as we host the 26th annual celebration of Project Excellence and the recognition of outstanding academic achievement by the next generation of construction management professionals. As we are all aware, the coronavirus pandemic has impacted our lives in ways we could not even conceive at the beginning of this year. It has provided numerous challenges, both personally and professionally, to all of us, and will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. However, as in all aspects of our lives, we need to focus on what we can do to get through these challenges and not let them define our future. So, when the awards committee understood that we would not be able to have our traditional in-person awards luncheon at the Omni Parker House Ballroom, they rolled up their sleeves and met the challenge head on, just like great construction managers do. The result is our GoToWebinar presentation format you're experiencing today. And just like every building project, this presentation is one of a kind. So this is the first time we have charted this new path, and it's probably not going to be perfect. So please pardon any minor technical glitches which might occur during the event. This format provides us with new opportunities for the award-winning teams to present their projects in new ways, as well as for the scholarship recipients to communicate their interest and excitement for the future, in their future as a construction management professional. So today, we will be celebrating the life of and legacy of Professor Mark Hasso. Mark is a lifelong educator of construction management programs and charter member of this and an integral part of the chapter leadership for over 30 years. So at this time, I would like to take a moment to extend a special welcome to Mark's family and friends who are participating remotely in this event today from a number of international locations. We'd like to thank Mark's family, especially his sister May Hasso, for your engagement with our chapter leaders during these past 6 months. And we will share with you more about Mark's life in a minute. I had the privilege of working with Mark on the CMAA National Standards of Practice Management Subcommittee for a number of years. And during that time, I was able to clearly understand Mark's dedication and commitment to the CM profession. The relationships he fostered with the many students and faculty at Wentworth Institute of Technology over the years provides the foundation for his legacy as an educator, a mentor, and a friend to those who have touched his career. Mark held true to his obligations to the profession as best outlined in the CMAA Code of Ethics. I will contribute to the advancement of the construction and program management practice as a professional by fostering research and education. I will recognize and fulfill my obligation to nurture fellow professionals as they progress through all stages of their career, beginning with professional education and continuing throughout their career. So when the chapter members learned of Mark's passing in March of this year, it was very clear that we had an obligation to continue Mark's legacy to the profession. The board unanimously voted to partner with Wentworth Institute of Technology to establish an endowed scholarship in Mark's honor. We are pleased to share with you that our initial $25,000 donation was matched dollar for dollar by Wentworth to establish the Mark H. Hasso Endowed Scholarship Fund of the Construction Management Association of America, New England chapter. The funds within this endowment will allow a scholarship to be awarded annually to a deserving CM student at Wentworth. At this time, the scholarship fund has received additional contributions from a number of Mark's friends and companies within the construction management industry, increasing that endowment value on the way to our goal of $100,000 by the end of this year. In addition to the establishment of the endowed scholarship, the chapter awards committee recommended and the chapter board of directors unanimously approved the renaming of our annual awards and scholarship ceremony to the CMAA New England Mark H. Hasso Project Excellence and Scholarship Awards Program, which we felt was another important way to honor and remember Mark's legacy each year. At this time, we would like to present a video tribute which celebrates the life and legacy of Mark Hasso.
Good afternoon, my name is Bill Carney and I am very privileged to be able to introduce today's segment honoring our dear friend and colleague, Mark Hasso. I am a professor in the Construction Management Department of Wentworth Institute of Technology and have many fond memories of working with Mark in my years as a CM professional in CMAA board activities and most recently as a fellow professor at Wentworth for 7 years. As most of you know, Mark passed away earlier this year after a long battle with cancer. He was an amazing advocate, promoter, and educator of the professional construction management field of work. He was a founding father of the New England chapter of the CMAA. Today we will hear from several colleagues from the CMAA family, industry professionals, and Wentworth.
With Mark for nearly 20 years. I knew him as a man of integrity and the unofficial conscience of the board, always fostering and promoting the needs of CM students. With the time allotted, I can only speak about some of the accomplishments of this remarkable man, whose journey took him from Baghdad to Boston. Born in Iraq in 1946, Mufid Hasso was admired for his cheerful devotion to duty at his high school. The words efficient and steady described his undergraduate years at Al-Hikmah University, where he earned his BSCE in 1967. His first teaching position was at the Institute of Technology in Baghdad, and where he also designed water treatment plants. His work took Mufid to England, where in 1982 he earned his master's in civil engineering, highway and transport at the City University of London. Later that year he came to the United States, adopted the name of Mark, and with an incredible pace embarked upon a career that would earn him many accolades. Between 1983 and 1985, Mark attended Worcester Polytech, joined Chi Epsilon, earned a second master's degree in civil engineering with a concentration in construction management, established 4 engineering firms, and began a 27-year relationship with the Seven Hills Foundation, an organization whose mission is to break down barriers of disability, poverty, and other life challenges. In 1989, Mark began his 31-year tenure on the faculty at Wentworth Institute, where in 2001 he became a full professor of construction management. Between 1993 and 1996, he earned his Massachusetts PE, his PhD in construction management from WPI, and BSC's Presidential Leadership Award. In 1998, CMAA New England named Mark Person of the Year. In 2000, Mark became the 153rd president of BSCE. In 2008 alone, Mark was inducted into Sigma Lambda Chi, the International Honor Society for Construction, and he received BSCE's Citizens Engineer Award, as well as Wentworth's Presidents and Alumni Association's Distinguished Service Awards. Mark served on the boards of numerous organizations, and as Bill mentioned, was one of the founders of the New England chapter of CMAA. Mark was honored as the first CMAA National Educator of the Year in 2012, and as the first ENR Legacy Award in 2015. In 2017, Mark became a member of the CMAA College of Fellows, the highest honor that CMAA bestows on an individual, in recognition of significant contributions to this profession, the industry, and the association. Following a long battle with pancreatic cancer, Mark passed away on March 16, 2020, at the age of 74. To honor Mark's legacy, the following have been established on a yearly basis. The Mark Hasso Scholarship Endowment by CMAA New England and Wentworth Institute. Over $65,000 has been raised to date. The CMAA National Mark Hasso or Educator of the Year. This year, instructors from Texas and Hawaii were given this award. the Mark H. Hasso Project Excellence and Scholarship Awards Program. I'd like to leave you with a little story Mark's sister May told me. In 1990, she and her mother came to the United States to visit Mark, hoping to persuade him to return to Iraq. While they were here, the Kuwait invasion had begun and they were unable to return. Mark turned the cards around and asked them to stay with him. He gave them shelter and moral support. They never went back to Iraq. Mark continued to help them thrive in the U.S. May wrote, "Words cannot express how he cared about us. He was a kind and true gentleman, very considerate, cheerful, trustworthy, and sincere." May also said she received a letter from one of Mark's students who wrote, "I will continue mentoring others as he mentored me." Those words capture the essence of Mark Hasso, the son, the brother, friend, colleague, the ultimate educator. As Bill mentioned earlier, as we now hear from individuals who knew Mark, some for many, many years. Thank you.
I was so very fortunate to have known Mark Hasso for over 25 years. I can truly say that he was an outstanding educator, industry colleague, and most importantly, a dear friend. Our mutual involvement with starting the CMAA New England chapter is where I first met. It was Mark's enthusiasm for Wentworth Institute that convinced me to award so many scholarships through the Francis Cavill Trust Fund over the past 25 years annually to Wentworth female students studying construction management. Many students have benefited financially because of Mark's passion for his work. In addition to being an academic leader, Mark served his community in many ways, especially for persons with special needs. He served as a foundation board member on the Seven Hills Foundation for 28 years, which cares for people who have the ability to thrive when given support, respect, and dignity. He was loved and will be sorely missed by myself, as well as many students, professors, industry colleagues, and his devoted and loving family.
Mark was a true champion, one who always sought improvement and collaboration. I had the pleasure of knowing Mark when he first started at Wentworth Institute. He had an uncanny ability to always get the best from us and to be his best at all he did. Mark was a lifelong learner and encouraged us all with his amazing abilities and professionalism. His insights and encouragement will be deeply missed.
Mark was a dynamic academic and industry leader who made a significant impact on our industry at large. He accomplished so much in his lifetime and had such a positive influence on the student he taught and the colleague that were fortunate enough to have worked with him. Everything Mark did in life, he did with enthusiasm and integrity, always leaving a tremendous impact. It was an honor to have known and worked with Mark, and he definitely made the world a better place.
Hello, my name is Zorica Pantic, and I'm the President Emerita of Wentworth Institute of Technology. I had the great privilege and pleasure of working closely with Professor Hasso for 14 years. Mark was an outstanding colleague, a caring teacher, and world-renowned professional. Everybody in the construction industry knew his name and appreciated his opinions and his expertise. His colleagues and his students respected him and loved him too. He was the career builder for many generations of Wentworth students. On behalf of the whole Wentworth community, I would like to express our deepest condolences to his family and his friends. Mark will be sorely missed, and it's a huge loss for all of us.
Hello, I'm Andrea Rutledge, President and CEO of the Construction Management Association of America. I want to thank Tom Ellis and the New England chapter and the team that put together today's event for inviting me to join you by video. And I look forward to the day when we can visit again in person. I'd like to start by sharing a little bit more about the recent decision to rename the CMAA Educator of the Year Award in honor of Mark Hasso, FCMAA, and to introduce you to the two outstanding educators who are being honored this year. CMAA established the Educator of the Year Award in 2011. Its purpose is to recognize and celebrate a full-time educator for outstanding professional accomplishments and a commitment to construction management education. Mark was the award's first recipient. No one knows Mark better than you, the New England chapter. After all, he helped to found it. And the New England chapter honored his contributions by unanimously endorsing his nomination to the CMAA College of Fellows in 2017. When the news of his passing reached the college, they unanimously recommended to the board of directors that Mark's legacy be honored by renaming the CMAA Educator of the Year Award in his memory, and the board agreed. This year, the Mark Hasso CMAA Educator of the Year Award goes to two individuals. Dr. Shirare Kurmansashi is an assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering and director of the Resilient Infrastructure and Sustainable Environment Lab at the University of Texas, Arlington. Dr. Kurmansashi has established a CMAA student chapter there and serves as its faculty advisor. She teaches using real projects and encourages her students towards creative solutions to old problems. The other recipient is Norman Takea, an assistant professor at Honolulu Community College. Mr. Takea developed, oversees, and teaches in the foremost college-level CM program in Hawaii. With a placement rate of nearly 100%, this program has become the training ground for almost all entry-level CM prospects in Oahu. Mark was a great advocate for ensuring that young people were prepared for a future that was difficult to predict. To that end, he encouraged his students to become CMITs before they graduated, and he promoted the importance of learning beyond the classroom. Mark and I had colleagues in common, and I believe saw the future of the CM profession in similar ways. It would always be people-based and relationship-oriented. It would be open, welcoming, and inclusive. CMs would be capable of providing a full range of services across a project's life cycle. Successful professionals would blend technical knowledge with relationship skills, communication skills, critical thinking, digital literacy, and decision-making skills. And CMs would be simultaneously strategic thinkers and tactical experts. As I look back over the last 8 months, I'm struck by several things. The tenacity and resourcefulness of CMA members in reorganizing projects, schedules, workloads, supply chains, and safety protocols, especially in states where construction remained an essential activity from the beginning. These were job sites and projects where information came in daily, even hourly, and these teams prevailed. I'm also struck by the generosity of CMAA members who willingly shared information, especially about safety on job sites, with each other. And finally, the trust CMAA members have put in the board and the national staff to deliver CMAA 2020, our first fully virtual program for education and engagement. I do have some fun, fast facts to know and tell. Membership in CMAA is at about 16,700. We have 5,096 CCMs as of August 31, of which 90 are in New England. And we have 5,265 CMITs, of which 161 are in New England. Speaking of CMITs, CMIT is free to active duty military personnel, reservists, members of the National Guard, and to the employees of CMAA's mega members. And speaking of mega members receive the group rate for CMAA 2020. I hope you'll register if you haven't already. I think it's going to be amazing. Thank you again for inviting me. Congratulations to all of this year's honorees. And I look forward to seeing you, whatever that is, as many of you as possible in the weeks and months to come. Thanks again.
Thank you, Andrea. As you can see, Mark had such an impact on so many individuals within the profession. So we were pleased to learn that the CMAA National Board concurrently recognized Mark's legacy, as Andrea mentioned, and his continuing contribution to construction management education through the naming of the Educator of the Year Award. He set a very high bar to start this awards program. But most importantly, we will truly miss Mark's patience, his guidance, and his friendly smile. But we are heartened to know that his legacy will live on. So we are at a point here where we are at the program where we traditionally have presented a Person of the Year award to a deserving individual within the construction management industry for their outstanding leadership and accomplishments. So when the awards committee was assessing nominations for this award, it was extremely clear that this was not a normal year, and that the award for outstanding leadership and accomplishment should not go to a person, but to an entire team. In response to the Herculean effort to successfully meet one of the most difficult public-private partnership challenges we will probably see in our lifetime, I am honored to present the Team of the Year award to the entire team, totaling more than 300 members who worked around the clock for nearly a week on the Boston Hope Medical Center project. This project was a partnership of Governor Baker and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the City of Boston, and Mayor Walsh, and the entire medical community to create a 1,000-bed field hospital within the Boston Convention Center in only 6 days. This facility treated 750 COVID-19 positive patients, which provided significant relief to all the other medical facilities within the region. You will see in the following video how this team faced the problem and overcame numerous challenges by working together towards a common goal. This team was led by Brigadier General Jack Hammond, who worked with the governor, Mayor Walsh, and the leaders of the Boston medical community, along with Suffolk Construction as the construction manager, to achieve this outstanding accomplishment.
Coronavirus cases doubling roughly every 2 to 3 days.
Every day it was just like, what is going on? You're seeing the results coming out of New York and how it's kind of creeping now up to the northeast of Boston area.
In the interim, Boston hospitals are preparing, as best they can, for an unknown number of COVID-19 patients.
It was like nothing I've ever seen before, coming into the city every day, driving around the city and just seeing nobody.
Pressure on frontline healthcare workers is already intensifying, even though the surge of COVID-19 cases has not hit yet.
One of the major concerns at the time was the prospect of our healthcare institutions in the city becoming overwhelmed, in particular the ICUs.
And now a field hospital is getting ready to open in Boston. Governor Baker announcing today that crews are setting up 1,000 beds inside the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center.
It's being called Boston Hope Medical Center.
As soon as I got the call that I was going to be part of this project and part of this team, the first thing that was going through my mind was, how are we going to make this happen? We really needed experts from every area. So we needed medical experts, we needed construction experts, We had to build a hospital from scratch in just a couple of days. We didn't have a lot of time, and we needed to come up with a plan.
The first meeting that we were a part of, we sat down and looked at the initial plans and how it was going to be laid out. And then we were asked to go to the convention center to take a look at it to make sure that the plan would fit and it made sense.
The first walkthrough was extremely eye-opening. Every single team was represented at that walkthrough. Medical compliance, HVAC, the BCEC, Suffolk, Mass General Brigham, and all the various doctors that were involved at that point.
The BCEC is basically one big massive space, and if you walk in, it's this enormous volume of area that's 100 feet tall. It's 3 football fields long. When we were there and we kind of looked and saw how the convention center was built and how some of the utility connections were laid out, it lended itself to be a perfect field hospital because everything we needed from a utility connection, electric and plumbing, was right there on the floor, ready to go.
We had to move fast, but we had to be smart about it. Came up with this whole concept of making these prefab panels standard sizes, 8 by 8, right? It's 2 sheets of drywall.
In hindsight, that was a critical decision because you're not building a 1,000-bed field hospital in 6 days without having a good chunk of it prefab, and those walls were key.
The build started on a Saturday morning. Got out there bright and early in the morning. Prefab panels just started coming in trailer after trailer.
We had massive crews of upwards of 300 people working around the clock. We had carpenters, builders, pipe fitters, electricians, teamsters, plumbers, really every trade that you could imagine to make this build.
We were all over every square inch of that building. There was one person on our team that had walked 21 miles in a day.
Beds are still on the way, but construction crews are busy raising temporary walls. Mayor Marty Walsh says the field hospital inside the BCEC will give other frontline hospitals breathing space.
The way they build in the convention center is different than how we build out on our projects. But everybody was reacting to things in the moment. It's not like one of our projects where you have a set of drawings, you have a schedule, and a plan that you've thought about for months to execute on. We were making it up as we go.
We were there originally to do the 500 beds, and it was about our second day into the build. And one of my bosses came over and said, hey, it's coming tomorrow, but we're gonna have to do another 500. Called our prefab guys up in New Hampshire and told them to make some more panels.
So probably the greatest example of how things were ever changing was the day they came to us and said we need to add oxygen to 100 of the beds. On a typical hospital campus, there's an oxygen tank farm with several massive tanks of oxygen that are just ready to tap into to supply oxygen throughout the hospital. The one challenge we had was finding tanks in the middle of a pandemic because not only the country but the rest of the world is trying to find oxygen for this respiratory disease. We were able to find a company in Texas. The tank showed up, we got them off the flatbed, connected them about a day, and that's how that came together.
We were really careful to make sure we were covering all of our bases. We wanted to make sure that we weren't leaving any stones unturned, that we were attending to every detail to make sure that the space was going to be ready not only for the build out, but for patients to come in about a week later.
The state's largest field hospital is now open. The Boston Convention and Expo Center is now being called Boston Hope.
There are 1,000 beds, more than 50 nursing stations, a half-dozen short-term urgent care stations, and a physical therapy suite.
This was a massive undertaking, and it's remarkable to see it come to fruition in just 5 or 6 days.
To have started the build on a Saturday and to be accepting patients the following Friday in a facility that can provide care for them is pretty remarkable.
I remember there's one spot you can go to in the convention center where you kind of get a bird's eye view of everything, and you can kind of look on and you can see the 1,000 pods. I just remember watching all of that come together, and I think all of us kind of just feeling like, in a very small way, we help the city, we help the people in it try and get through something that, none of us in our wildest dreams could ever imagine
The point here isn't that we built a field hospital in 6 days. The point is that this amazing group of people came together from all different fields and walks of life, put aside their own anxieties and fears about the situation and what was going on in the world, and did whatever it took to make this happen.
Boston Hope opened in April specifically to help treat people during the pandemic, and more than 700 COVID-19 positive patients were treated there over the past few months. Staff and volunteers and the patients themselves cheering and some crying tears of joy after victorious fights against COVID-19. 68-year-old Joseph Murphy of East Weymouth, he's one of the men there. He spent 36 days at Boston Hope, and that is something for sure to cheer about.
Hello everyone, my name is Jack Hammond, and in late March 2020, Governor Charlie Baker called me and asked me to lead an effort to build and open a 1,000-bed COVID-positive field hospital in downtown Boston at the Convention Center. As you can imagine, this was an extremely difficult task, and it would not have been accomplished if it weren't for the amazing work of the men and women working for Suffolk Construction Company. I want to add my thanks to many others, to John Fish and the team at Suffolk for what they did and the way they pulled together to make this a success. Boston Hope represents what we can accomplish if we all work together. Everyone that worked at Boston Hope had one common theme in mind as they came to work each day. Every doctor, every nurse, every tradesman, laborer, policeman, or soldier. Failure is not an option. Our backs were against the wall, the surge was mounting, and we knew that if we did not do our jobs properly, the hospital systems in Boston could fail, potentially. Boston Hope was a public-private partnership between the governor, the mayor, and the CEOs of our hospital systems, city, state, and federal government, Boston Police, State Police, the National Guard, and competing hospital systems. When the governor called me, I knew what the stakes were, and I understood the challenge. In my previous life as an Army officer, I've dealt with expeditionary operations in austere environments where you have to get by with what you have. It all comes down to people and stuff. You need to have the right people, the right leaders, and a motivated team, and then you need to have the resources to succeed. Frankly, Suffolk Construction provided us with the crucial resource, which was a field hospital. When I got off the phone with Governor Baker, I had one of those moments where I sat and reflected upon the conversation, and I realized at that moment that we had a few challenges. A moment ago I mentioned that we're going to need people and stuff. Well, at that moment I realized we're going to need a lot of people, roughly 1,000. I know we're going to need a lot of stuff. We're going to need hospital equipment, we're going to need monitors, beds, and of course the field hospital. And then we're going to need money to operate it. And at that point in that conversation, we didn't have any of those things. A short time later, I spoke to Mayor Marty Walsh, and he had told me that he had already been in conversations with Suffolk to start getting after this construction project as soon as we locked in all the negotiations and deals, which only took a short time from there. But from that moment forward, I knew that this mission could be accomplished on time and on target. A vision without resources is a hallucination. And frankly, with the support of the governor and the mayor, we had great vision, but the resources needed to come from somewhere. And fortunately, we found a great friend in the CEO of Mass General Brigham, Dr. Ann Klebansky. And when Ann made a commitment to support the construction and the operation of Boston Hope, we were right where we needed to be. First thing we had to do then is build a team of teams, and that's exactly what we had. The Boston Hope staff, the Suffolk team, the BCEC team. We had a Reserve Army hospital. We had the National Guard. We had support teams from the city and the state and each of the hospital systems, all working with one focus in mind. We need to take care of these COVID positive patients and keep them healthy and safe so that they can return home without having to go back to the hospitals they came from. Boston Hope had many successes. First and foremost, the construction of a 1,000-bed hospital in just 5 days. And this is 1,000 separate rooms with oxygen piped to at least 200, an x-ray room, 6 intensive care unit rooms, 60 nurses stations, and just imagine all the things that go around with building a hospital. We needed each of these things in support, to include the team from Spalding Rehab building a complete rehab area to help these folks get along. We had a partnership with the Boston Healthcare for the Homeless team because 500 beds were going to be reserved for COVID positive patients that were unsheltered. And so we had 3 levels of acuity for patient sickness with respect to COVID illnesses. Boston Hope required us to finish building the plane while it was going down the runway, as the teams from Suffolk Construction were working 3 shifts a day round the clock to build the field hospital. At the same time, we had to work diligently to staff the hospital, and this was no small feat. We were operational within 7 days and fully operational within 12 days, hiring 1,000 doctors, nurses, and support team members, and adding an economic boost to the area given the fact that many of these folks had been furloughed from their jobs. Boston Hope treated 750 COVID positive patients and had no deaths and no safety violations. That's an extremely significant feat for any hospital, regardless of where you were or the conditions you worked in. As I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, this was all about having the right people and the right stuff, and at Boston Hope we had that. Again, I want to express my deep thanks to the governor and the mayor for placing this trust in me to operate and lead this effort. Certainly Ann Klebinski and John Fish for the manner in which they work together to support and resource this amazing collaborative effort. And then, of course, the leadership at Boston Hope, Mr. Michael Allard, who is the Deputy Commander for Boston Hope, Jeanette Ives Erickson, who is the Co-Medical Director and Chief Nurse, Dr. Giles Boland, who is the Co-Medical Director, Ms. Laura Lakin from Home Base, who is the Site Commander and responsible for the day-to-day operation of this amazing hospital, Dr. Rich Ehrlichman, who is a combat army surgeon with me in Afghanistan and a Mass General doctor I reached out to early on in this operation to get him involved and help me get going and get it off the ground. And of course, Dr. Ron Hirschberg, who became our medical director on the floor, organizing the daily clinical efforts at Boston Hope. This was an amazing opportunity, and this just shows what the people of Boston can do when they come together, work together as one in a unified effort. And again, I'd just like to close by adding my thanks to many others, to Suffolk Construction for making this a reality.
Thank you. Wow. Well, as you can see, that it was not a difficult decision by the awards committee to select the team of the year. This is ultimately what project managers do and what they do well. You know, we meet challenges head on, focus on the goal in front of us. And again, congratulations to the entire Boston Hope team. So we're presenting 9 awards today for project excellence and from a number of outstanding submissions. So you will see these outstanding projects from some amazing teams. The first award is being presented for the Hanscom Air Force Rescue Firefighting U.S. Customs and Border Patrol Protection Facility Project. The submission was prepared by SOM Architecture. The owner is Massachusetts Port Authority. Other key stakeholders included Massport Hanscom Operations, Hanscom Rescue and Firefighting, the Federal Aviation Administration, and the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The general contractor was Daniel J. O'Connor Sons. The structural engineer was O'Day Engineers, with Kemenati Consulting as the resident engineer. The project required extensive coordination with stakeholders. And it also, through collaboration and attention to detail and innovative solutions to project complexity, the team successfully exceeded the project schedule and budgeted goals. The ARFF portion of the facility included a state-of-the-art vehicle bays for 4 response vehicles and dormitories for 6 firefighters. The Custom and Border Patrol portion of the facility includes a passenger processing area for up to 20 passengers and a security hardened area for secondary searches. Working within the secure boundary of a very active airport required daily intensive coordination. The contractor, Daniel O'Connell's sons, worked very closely monitoring all activities and strategically planning each step of the process to successfully avoid any disruption to airport operations. The team demonstrated expertise in harnessing their strengths in order to manage the aggressive schedule and achieve successful completion. The final result was the delivery of a safe, cost-effective, quality projects. And now you will see the next 8 award winners through their video submissions, which will give you an insight into their outstanding projects.
Building construction, I'd first like to say thank you to those that voted for this project. My name is Dave Capaldo. I am the Director of Public Construction and Education for Bond and served as the project executive on this amazing project. This project was quite unique and far more complex than the average K-12 school. Having the CM on board early in the schematic design phase allowed for the complexities of this project to be fully vetted with the entire team prior to the work being documented, bid, and then executed in the field. One of the most challenging aspects of this project was that the new construction was built directly adjacent to the existing building, the new building being as close as 5 feet away and 30 feet below the existing school. And being that close, demolishing the existing building after we turned over the new school to the city also posed some challenges. The mutual respect and willingness of all team members to work together was significant to the success of this project. We knew that if we're all on the same page, that we would all share in each other's success, and looking back, that is exactly how it played out. With that, we would also like to thank the City of Quincy, PCA 360, and AA3 Architects for their support and cooperation on this incredibly successful and rewarding project. It's certainly one that we're all very proud of.
The Terminal B optimization project includes the renovation and expansion to consolidate American Airlines into a single operation. The expansion creates space for a centralized security checkpoint utilizing the latest and fast screening technology. The expansion also houses 9 concessions, 2 hold rooms, and an outbound bag room at the lower level. The renovations include improvements to 19 hold rooms, 12 concessions, public circulation and toilet rooms. A new baggage handling system and renovated baggage claim provides faster and more accurate baggage processing. Nearly all 21 aircraft parking positions are reconfigured to optimize airline operations. The project team consisted of Massport, AECom, and Turner Construction. The team utilized the power of virtual design and construction and lean construction principles to minimize waste. Based on the conditions of satisfaction set forth by the team, lean initiatives were deployed, including Last Planner, a big room for collaboration, target value design, focus groups, and design assist with the trades. One challenge was the requirement to keep the airlines fully operational throughout construction. We worked around the clock to complete construction in spaces that could not be closed during the day. Through close coordination between the contractor, design team, and terminal managers, the project was able to seamlessly connect passengers to their flights and ease the disruption of construction. The project relied heavily on an innovative approach to construction and used the power of BIM to get it done. Thank you to the incredible team that worked so hard to make this project a success. And thank you to the project stakeholders who took an active role working with us to get the work done. And most of all, thank you to Massport, who continues to make it happen and facilitates innovative projects that benefit everyone. AECom and the entire team is proud to have been a part of this project. Thank you to CMAA for recognizing this project and all that it accomplished.
We had 18,000 square feet, in excess of $9 million worth of construction that we had to complete in 2 months.
We did a comprehensive district-wide master plan at the beginning and an analysis of all 22 schools in the entire district of Cranston, and looked at, the older schools. We looked at flexibility, structural flexibility, and in the process of all that, we determined that Eden Park actually would be flexible enough for us to do what we call a Pathfinder makeover, where we strip the entire building, so all that's left is the steel structure.
Everybody was handpicked. Cranston Schools, picked Jacobs, Fielding and International, and Shawmut Construction, so we felt we had the team that could pull it off.
Early on, the owner was very clear what they wanted as far as project goals. Right behind that, the effort of forming the team came together.
Collaboration is communication. We all came to the table, the architect, the construction manager, and the owner, the city and the school, as well as us, owners, project managers, to knowing the challenges.
We brought in staff, we brought in parents, we talked to students. This was an extremely exciting project for us. It was the first major renovation of a school that we have done in decades. So our goal with this was really to set the tone for future projects in an exciting way.
We wanted to prove that we could reuse buildings, and we did in doing that.
This was a huge shift in how we would be educating our students for the 21st century. A lot of the things that came to fruition really came from the students.
Our students more engaged, they're more present. Our daily attendance has certainly gone up. Our discipline referrals have gone down markedly. Our students are really stepping into leadership roles.
This transforms what we think schools should be and schools should look like for students in our district.
This was a building that was built in 1906. The project originally started as just doing the galleries.
As we began opening up the chase walls and other parts of the building to accommodate the gallery renovation, we realized that there's a whole bunch of stuff that we can't just leave and put back. And that really was the causation for renovating the entire building.
When we came onto the project, they had to upgrade the plumbing, life safety, access code compliance. And in doing that, the budget escalated from $15 million and expanded quickly out to $20 million. The conditions throughout the building were unknown for the most part. During the selective demolition phase, we were coming across a lot of unknowns and we had to react quickly. So it was a rapid project. We had to be done with this project in time for fall semester.
I think communication is the key to anything. We had great communications. I actually had City Point in my office. They shared my office with me, so we talked every minute. It was probably one of the better teams that worked together, and it turned into like a perfect project.
I think where a successful team really shines is if you can keep that design intent throughout construction, maintain cost effectiveness and schedule, and still at the end of the day come up with a project that is reflective of what you started with, but at least this case is much better.
It's much nicer for the students in here. It's a professional gallery that the students use.
As a team, all various stakeholders work together perfectly, and as a result, we have this incredible building and all these perfect galleries for all these incredible pieces of art.
Thanks to the CMAA for this wonderful project award. I'd like to take a moment to thank our lead subconsultants, including architectural engineers, Kevel Enterprises, VTX, and Code Red Consultants. And the project would not have been successful without our general contractor, Manafort Brothers. Three of the most important goals of this project were to make the station universally accessible, to eliminate flooding and make the station resilient, and to modernize the station and improve community connections. But one of the biggest challenges we faced was completely reconstructing the station safely while maintaining Red Line service.
As lead architect for the project, the original scope was an elevator job. This turned into a full station upgrade once we understood the age and the condition of the full station. It was very evident during the early public meetings that we could tell the community was desperate for a new station. And we as Kleinfelder are really proud to be part of the team to make this happen.
Hi, I'm John McCormick, project manager at the MBTA. Wollaston was a very important station to the MBTA because it was one of the last remaining inaccessible stations on the Red Line. Just like to point out that the team of Kleinfelder, the MBTA, the contractor, and the many stakeholders involved in this project all came together, and we successfully opened the project on time in August of 2019. Thank you.
Kleinfelder is so honored to accept this award today. We are so proud of our team and the work that they have done together. Thank you, Governor Baker. Thank you, Secretary Pollack and General Manager Poftak and his tremendous leadership and management team. And I'd just like to leave you with the fact that this project doesn't end today. Its value to the community is just beginning. Thank you.
Like so many bridges in our transportation system, the Woods Memorial Bridge was built by members of the greatest generation after World War II. And like so many of those bridges, this bridge has become structurally deficient.
The Woods Memorial Bridge project was a $71 million bridge replacement project that carried Route 16 over the Malden River, as well as Route 16 over the MBTA and Keolis commuter rail tracks.
One of the main challenges of this project was to accommodate the many users of this corridor in one condensed location.
The bridges maintained the 3 lanes in each direction while adding auxiliary lanes for exit and entrance to the highway and shoulders on each side for bicycle accommodation. We also put 10-foot sidewalks on each side of the roadway to provide a bit more pedestrian and bicycle access. This was the first project in the state that used a public-private partnership to create the wetland mitigation site. And we were able to, working with Pre-Auto Lane, get them actually to build the wetland replication site for Mass DOT.
The Woods Memorial Bridge was a very complex and challenging project. But thanks to our partners at Stantec, who produced an excellent design, we were able to successfully complete the project over a year ahead of schedule and over 10% under the allotted budget.
I'm extremely proud of this project and the work that Stantec did on it. Walking out there today and seeing the people on bikes walking, the improved traffic flow, the beautiful landscaping and lighting, the overlooks, the people on Tufts crew underneath the bridge, this has really become a vibrant section of both cities.
Wow, you can see that the awards committee selected some phenomenal projects. But as I promised you, or at least warned you, we may have some difficulties or technical difficulties, and I omitted to move the slide forward on the Hanscom project. So I wanted to correct that error right now. And as you can see, the Hanscom project, which was designed by SOM Architecture, is an unbelievable project. So I wanted to give them the opportunity and you to see this project. It's phenomenal. So I apologize, Diana, Nicholas, and your team, that omission occurred. But again, I apologize, and we're making that correction as we go forward. So at this point, I'd like to move to the the final two projects, the two projects which stood out from all the submissions and have been acknowledged by their peers and by the committee for excellence in program management. And the award for the project program management award goes to Seaman Healthineers Advanced Manufacturing and R&D Facility project team. And the Project of the Year award goes to the Northeastern University ISEC Pedestrian Crossing Project team. Congratulations to both teams for their outstanding projects.
Siemens Healthineers is one of the largest diagnostic manufacturers in the world. Our state-of-the-art manufacturing facility here in Walpole, Massachusetts is arguably the largest of its kind. We produce immunodiagnostic reagents used to treat millions of people around the globe, suffering from conditions such as HIV, hepatitis, or more recently, COVID-19. In 2016, the facility was approaching its capacity. We needed to expand to meet the growing demand for these critical products. The scale of this expansion meant that we needed to expand all utilities, expand all unit operation, increase the storage and manufacturing areas, and nearly double the population on the site. To execute this expansion would require the modification of over 85% of the entire campus, all while maintaining rigorous FDA requirements. We turned to trusted partners with a demonstrated track record of success and recognized expertise in their fields, primarily Jacobs Engineering, Columbia Construction, PMA Consultants, as well as other key contributors. This team developed a strategy consisting of 43 interdependent projects, each with their own unique design packages, construction approaches, and challenges. This enabled incremental expansion without adverse impact to ongoing operations. Certainly, we can be proud that this project was done on time and on budget. More important than that, many people came together and worked more than 1 million hours to create a world-class manufacturing facility for diagnostic reagents. From day one, the team embraced the motto, "We are one team, working for one purpose, to make a positive impact to billions of people." On behalf of the 3,000 people that worked on this project, thank you for recognizing our efforts.
Method before this bridge was in place is they had bridges, maybe 100 yards in either direction, which is, the edge of their campuses, so to say. And one of the bridges that they needed to cross at the time was through the MBTA train stop location. So it was kind of a traffic issue for the university for students to get to their next class or next building within time. So this particular pedestrian bridge helped to serve to alleviate the traffic for the campus students.
We are advocating for the client, Northeastern. It's very much Northeastern's bridge, but it was a partnership with the MBTA because they own the air, they own the land below, And so we had to really help to form a partnership between those two parties in conjunction with the contractor and the architects and engineers, and really get everybody on the same page so that we could successfully put in this bridge and maintain train traffic below, maintain safety throughout construction. So, you know, we were really the glue that held the team together and kept things moving in the right direction throughout design and construction.
Well, again, congratulations to all the award winners and the entire teams that put these projects together and allowed them to be successful. Now, I think the overall theme is working together as teams, and you can see what can be accomplished when everyone, you know, locks arms and focuses on the objectives, no matter what it is. So as we move into the next phase of the presentation, I'd like to talk about the fact that, you know, periodically the chapter board presents a distinguished service award to a chapter member who has made significant contributions to the chapter during their membership. This year, we are presenting the New England Chapter Distinguished Service Award to Kay Barnett Smith. Kay has been a longstanding member of the board of directors. She's a past president and served on the awards and scholarship committee for a number of years. She's a registered architect and a certified construction manager. Kay was never shy about voicing her opinion on issues being addressed by the board and wanted to be sure that all sides of an issue were discussed. Kay served on the board of directors for more than a dozen years. So congratulations, Kay, for your commitment and devotion to the chapter for these years of service. Thank you very much. And again, made a small mistake there, but Kay, thank you very much for your service. So the next phase of our presentation is once we talk about the primary focus of our chapter is supporting the future and the next generation of construction managers through the awarding of scholarships to a number of outstanding students attending accredited programs of construction management in New England. I would like to introduce Deborah Caminetti, co-chair of the Chapter Scholarship Committee, to introduce the recipients of this year's scholarships.
Good afternoon. I'm Deborah Caminetti, co-chair of the Scholarship Committee. I'm very pleased to announce the 2020 scholarship recipients. I would like to thank my fellow Scholarship Committee members for their contributions to the committee. The members are Wendy Rick Smith, co-chair, Katie Cho, Bill Kearney, Tim Johnson, Alessandro Mazzotta, and Tasha LaFay. We reached out to the 7 schools in New England that offer a degree in construction management. We received 12 excellent applications and, as always, had difficulty limiting our selection to only 5 recipients. Each recipient was awarded a $4,000 scholarship. In addition, the Scholarship Committee has selected Julia Gravano as the first recipient of the Professor Mark H. Hasso Scholarship. Julia received this honor because she most exhibits the leadership traits and commitment to the construction management profession for which Professor Hasso was famous. Since we are unable to meet the students this year in person, each recipient has prepared a short video to introduce themselves. The recipients are Han Sung Chung, Jacob DeGanji, Jesse Janeo, Julia Gravano, and Matthew Smith. Here are their videos.
Hello, all the members of the CMAA. My name is Hyun-Sung Chung, and I'm a senior in Wentworth Institute of Technology studying construction management. I'm graduating in August 2021. I'm honored to be part of this annual luncheon and receive a CMAA scholarship. This scholarship will help me greatly to be a better professional. I chose construction management after I saw people's lives changing by construction through my volunteer experiences in Vietnam and Ethiopia. I was deeply impressed by how much people are affected by their physical environment. My life goal is to change the world into a better place. So my long-term goal is to found a foundation that helps the neglected corners of the world by construction. Thank you all, and I look forward to meet you as your friend and co-worker next time.
Hey everyone, my name is Jacob DeGanji, and I go to Wentworth Institute of Technology. First of all, I'd like to say thank you guys so much for this opportunity. It really does mean a lot to me. It shows that hard work pays off, and it really does motivate me to keep trying to achieve my goals and succeed. So here at Wentworth, I major in construction management and I minor in business management. I am a senior, and I'm going to be graduating in August of 2021. For as long as I can remember, I've been doing work with my dad in construction, and a lot of my family members are still in the construction industry. So I think I've just always grown up surrounded by construction, and it's made me want to jump into the field in a bigger picture way. Some of my short-term goals, I think I would just like to be hired by a reliable company long-term where I can grow and learn and gain experience. Long-term, I think I'd love to become a significant and valuable team member and decision maker for a company. And whether that's in the office or the field or big picture, doesn't really matter. I would just love to have a significant role. Some of my hobbies include I love to ski in the winter. I love to play basketball, run, ride my bike. And I am currently the vice president of the Construction Management Club here at Wentworth. Thank you guys so much again for this opportunity. It really does mean a lot, and I appreciate the time.
Hello, my name is Jesse Hanau. I'm from the Dominican Republic, and I attend Wentworth Institute of Technology. My major is construction management, and I expect to graduate in fall of 2021. I am deeply honored and very thankful to receive this scholarship, the CMAA scholarship. It's going to be very helpful. It's going to help me and my family tremendously financially to pay for my tuition as the semesters go and pay for books. It's going to help me graduate, as I mentioned, next year. And it's very meaningful for me to get this scholarship. I appreciate it. I expect to stay in construction. I've been doing it for 12 years now. And I decided just to get my degree so I can keep moving up, learning more. And this was a great opportunity. I appreciate it. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Hello, my name is Julia Gavano, and I am currently a rising senior at Wentworth Institute of Technology. I plan to graduate in August of 2021. I am studying construction management with a concentration in facilities management, as well as a minor in business management. The CM industry found me when I was looking into architecture at Wentworth back in 2016 as a junior in high school. I knew from the open house that CM was the path for me. I have always been a hands-on and creative person. I was always fascinated by the coordination and design process that a building would undergo until it was finally finished. Choosing construction, facilities, and business has by far been my best decision as a young adult. For the future, I want to continue to learn about different facets of the industry and be a mentor to younger students. I also want to continue my participation in organizations like CMAA. I plan to take my career back with me home to Long Island or New York City post-graduation. Some fun facts about me is that I love to scuba dive, travel, paint, and garden. In sum, I'm honored to be a recipient of the first Dr. Mark Hasso CMAA New England Scholarship. Professor Mark Hasso was a great supporter of the CM industry and CM students at Wentworth. It's because of Professor Hasso's involvement with CMAA that I am a certified construction manager in training. Past, present, and future Wentworth construction management students will be forever grateful for his commitment to us and his passion in the construction industry. Thank you again for this great honor and supporting Wentworth students like me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Matthew Smith. I'm a senior studying construction management at the Wentworth Institute of Technology. When I'm not in school or work, you can often find me either mountain biking, fishing, reading, or golfing. I chose to study construction management because I've always been interested in building tangible objects, whether it be Lincoln logs and Legos as a kid, up to some of the jobs I had in high school and college where we build porches, decks. I've been involved with single-family houses for a while. So I knew the process of building was what appealed to me, not so much the design. So I ruled out a career in engineering or architecture. And when I found construction management, specifically at Wentworth, I knew that was what I wanted to do. Moreover, I chose this career path because it provides me the opportunity to leave a lasting impact on the community through the projects a construction manager would build, whether that be a highway, a new bridge, or housing. That certainly appealed to me as well. Finally, I'd like to thank the CMAA and the donors for making this scholarship possible. Like many other students across the country, I've had to take loans to help pay for my education, so certainly every little bit helps, and I just can't say thank you enough, so thank you.
Well, as you can see, the next generation of construction managers are going to help us move our profession forward. We encourage you to help this effort forward. Your participation in the event today directly supports our annual chapter scholarship program, which is in addition to the Mark Hasso Endowed Scholarship at Wentworth. At this time, the endowed scholarship has grown to over $72,000 through the significant contributions from a number of Mark's family, friends, and peers. Our awards committee co-chair just informed me this week of a $2,000 contribution by Skanska USA, which will be matched dollar for dollar by Wentworth. So if you or your firm has not yet made a contribution, please consider doing so now. Wentworth will continue to match all contributions received by the end of the year, dollar for dollar. So our goal is to have this endowed fund at $100,000 by the end of this year. So we need your support to reach that goal. In any event such as this, awards presentation just doesn't happen. Just like every construction project, it takes a team. I would like to recognize the co-chairs, Mike Berlin, Kathleen Ledoux, for the outstanding effort putting this event together. I would also like to thank John Phillips, who championed and narrated part of the Mark Hasso tribute video, and Austin Chafee and Delia Mahata for their technical expertise and production management of this online event. Both Mike and Delia worked for WSP, so we'd like to say a special thank you for the time and resources which WSP provided to support this first time online event of our chapter. I would also like to thank Christine Gorman and Jacobs for preparing the event program and procuring the individual awards and certificates. So if you have not already downloaded your awards program, please do so. It was produced by Jacobs, and we appreciate their effort to do so. So you have just recently, within the last 5 minutes, received an email with a request to provide us with some feedback on this event. And I've actually already received some feedback from a number of individuals who have been watching, so we appreciate that. And so we'd ask if you could take a few minutes to respond to the survey. It will help improve our future events, whatever form or venue they take. So on behalf of the Construction Management Association of America, New England chapter, I'd like to thank you for joining us for this first time online event. And hopefully we will be able to see you in person next year. Thank you very much.